Hello and welcome back to episode 3 of our 2026 On The Edge sports podcast with myself, Brendan Tierney, and we're back again with Mr. Darren Kearns. Darren, we're back for week 3.
Thank you, Brendan.
Before we get into it, we would just like to pay a tribute to Paul Clancy, the ex-Galway footballer who sadly passed away today. Me, as a Galway man, I was absolutely blessed to... That man was there for some of the most amazing moments and memories of my life, and just give condolences to his friends and family who's very sad passing. And Darren, I'm sure... more than myself, you've seen this man kicking, which would have been 2-pointers at will over the years, like so.
Definitely have, and I suppose everybody thinks back to the kick pass he gave in for Declan Meehan's goal.
Without looking.
Yeah, and look at it over the shoulder onto his run, didn't have to break pace and finished it. So condolences to the family.
Yeah. Well, no, rest in peace, Paul, and thanks for the memories. Okay, we'll go back to business. We had a very busy weekend. We have a lot of sheets and notes here. The big question, Darren, I need you to please tell me, because as a Galway fan, I'm going, okay, we avoided them in the draw, okay? So just in case we get before anyone forgets,
I think I know what's coming, yeah.
Cork and Mayo, Kerry, Tyrone, Louth, Monaghan, Dublin, Galway. They're the quarterfinals this weekend. Well, firstly, can Tyrone beat Kerry? Or can anyone beat them before we meet them?
Look at, can anybody beat them is the major question at the moment. They really flexed their muscles again the weekend. Can anybody beat them remains to be seen, but look at, you know yourself, tips in this championship are going one way and nobody can really call what's going to happen.
No. I mean, I was kind of going with the draw and was talking to other fans and was like, maybe now is the time to meet them when everyone isn't back and flowing. Like Shawnee O'Shea, is it Graham O'Sullivan's not back? And
Shawnee O'Shea come on the last day.
Yeah, right, so like they haven't had game time. I'm clutching at straws here.
Are.
But then obviously we didn't get them. So then they're going, sure, look, I'd rather get to an Ireland final and the journey in the crack and maybe lose it, but be there.
I know.
So it's very hard to gauge. Time will tell. But like they're
Definitely.
4-7, like with 8 teams left. That is a real statement. Like
to win Sam,
and Galway are 5s, and then it is Dublin, Tyrone are 12s, and Cork and Mayo 14s. Yeah. So like the bookies are really saying, well, maybe Galway in their eyes are the only ones that have a chance. Like, so.
Well, look at very close to them at the moment, based on paper. Like what's happening on the football pitch is what's telling the tale, really. Yeah. Like So as we said, time will tell.
Yeah. Well, we'll go back to that actual match, Kerry and Armagh, in a few minutes. But just reading articles today, is it 2 championships now? It's like the provincials. There's only one provincial winner left. That's Kerry, and like no disrespect to anyone else in Munster, and Cork I know have progressed since, but at the time they had an easy win over them, so they're the only ones left. But like, form is out the window. Even Jim McGuinness said it. He said so like, even we're basing predicting, if we're the managers trying to get our team up to the speed, should a team be like, enjoy the league, go for provincial if you want, but don't be going hard, and then go again for the championship?
Well, I suppose it's like everybody, the provincials are strong at the moment. You could see the scenes when Armagh won their Ulster title, but you see where they are now. They're out of the championship. So did they peak too early? I think we touched on that. Did Donegal peak too early? Like these teams peaking too early or peaking at the wrong time?
Well, with Donegal, obviously they won the league. Is that their peak? Is that what they peaked? You know what I mean? And again, arguably they've beaten Kerry 3 times I think this year, between the league final and the championship.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the league one, but the latest 2 games, weakened team, them, so, and then a red card in one of them, like so.
Yeah, definitely. But again, like it's, with Kerry being the only provincial winner still in the championship, I would say that there's an argument for the carrot for winning the provincial. Like, should you get a home draw?
I think in the series, somewhere along the line, your league position as well could be a benefit, because that keeps the league another carrot.
Maybe,
definitely in the championship, like, I mean, I wouldn't absolutely get rid of the championships. There was some amazing scenes with Westmeath and Roscommon and even Armagh, even though they're a successful team, but they'd never won it or in recent years. And there's a great joy. So I think it's like bank that part of the season.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and like obviously winning a cup. It's a results business at the end of the day. People want silverware. Counties need silverware. You look at the scenes with Westmeath and Mark McHugh up in Leinster, which was huge. Like, and obviously they rode the wave for the last few weeks based on that as well. But again, I just think that if you do win a provincial title, that your next game should be at home. And that will give you the carrot to just go and really, really want to win the provincial, because at the end of the day, like, you can say what you want, but like, did Donegal take their eye off the ball when down came to play them in the championship?
Where are they going? We'll never know. Maybe that was a bit of a plan. We're not going gung-ho for the Ulster. We'll come back and train for a while.
Of course. Yeah. Like, it's one of these things that we don't know the answer to. from the outside looking in, it looks like something along those things happened, and they were planning for
Bigger
down the
days.
line, bigger days, and it hasn't come to fruition.
No.
So-
Well, I mean, we'll get to Donegal, but like it's funny. Even after when Galway lost to Roscommon, Porrick Joyce was very chill. He was like, "Look, great game." He said, "Fair play to Roscommon.
Yeah.
Look, we have a bigger picture down the road."
Yeah.
Have they been peaking their season? Like they didn't have Shane Walsh more or less, I think, for the league, and
No.
Damien Comer. So, time will tell. Was this a magic?
Definitely.
trickery,
Well, I suppose-
or was it just they couldn't bring them on?
But again, when you're touching back to that with Galway, like obviously PJ has been there a long time now. Mark Dowd was in with Roscommon for his first year, so winning silverware there was huge for him.
Yeah.
And go back to Leinster again with Mark McHugh and Westmeath first year there, winning silverware was huge.
Yeah.
So, and obviously Kerry won it in Munster, but that's one of these things that happens more often than it doesn't.
And I mean, Armagh, like I'm sure Kieran McGinney wouldn't have been losing sleep if he hadn't won the Ulster this year.
No,
But
well, I suppose
he would have hoped for later in the championship.
Yeah, he probably was looking, and I myself, from the first time we were on here, I had said Armagh would
Yeah.
have been very close to winning the Sam, but again, that hasn't happened. But for Armagh to win the Ulster Championship was huge also.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't happened too often,
And there's a great, I mean, it's the local banter and the rivalry. And
yeah.
You hold that there.
So
like.
to answer your first question, is there 2 championships? There probably is at the moment. Like you go gung ho for provincial honours, and then like you have other teams like the likes of Kerry. Obviously, we're waiting in the wings there. They win the Munster, but they're obviously they lose to Donegal. Kerry weren't panicking.
No, there was no drama. And like they took their foot off the gas probably in that game. They took their foot off the gas the other day against Armagh.
Yeah. So you
so,
just
yeah.
see where they are there at the moment.
Yeah. And like,
you know.
and it only hit me the weekend. Like Donegal, I mean, like down here in Sligo with St. John's, Jim McGuinness was here, I think it was 2010. And I will still say to this day, I found him absolutely unbelievable, insightful. Mental stuff was the biggest of all.
Yeah.
So I would not undermine the man in any way, shape,
No.
or form. But one win in 4 championship games, when you just hit it like that, you go, God, that's so un-McGuinness.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. And again, like you asked the question last week, like, did they peak too early winning the league? Like, because like they really put Kerry to the sword on that league final day, and they really put Kerry to the sword in the first round championship. But again, was Kerry worrying about that? I don't think so. Like, no. You mentioned that like it was an understrength Kerry team in the league final. They were down to 14 men for 35, 38 minutes. The last day in
Killarney.
in Killarney.
So it was like ghost success for Donegal and Kerry.
Yeah, to a
"See you
certain
later."
extent.
Yeah.
And when you look at what's after happening with Donegal's results in the championship this year, like 2 home defeats.
Yeah.
Again, both in Ballybuffet, like that's crazy.
Unheard
to think
of. Like, yeah, but the home thing is, I forget now my stats. I might have mentioned it last week, but like the home thing is really not becoming as prevalent or as important. Especially unless it's against a minnow. But
Yeah. Well, that's it
crunch
too.
games aren't being won at home by a lot of
No.
teams.
So on occasion, it's not really. But again, like obviously Donegal and Dublin the last day, like a cracker of a game, up and down. And I think McGuinness referred to it that there was no form coming into the game, or no form leading out of the game either.
Yeah.
You don't know what
You can't judge it. I mean, us
think of
two
any
Egypts
team.
here trying to figure out things. There are
No.
any other pundits. Not many people getting it right. But like Armagh and Donegal went out. So did Meath and Westmeath. Now Meath and Westmeath probably are not along the journey as far as Donegal and Armagh, but they kick a lot more I don't have all the stats, but in general, watching Meath and Westmeath, they get the ball up to get going, whereas Armagh and Donegal keep running it. Are they falling behind the best way to play this game, and is that why they're out?
Yeah, well, I suppose they're like each team is trying to play to their strengths, and they have a game plan coming into the games. Like if you look at Armagh, the last day they had slow attacks against Kerry, and for 20, 22, 23 minutes it was really working until Clifford got that goal.
Now let's go back, because I know you obviously you're allowed to give out about goalies because you're but like there's been a few. We'll go just about goalies' mistakes, but like that's the first one. Rafferty and I was going. They were against the wind. They were slowing the game down. It was kind of ticking along.
This is for the second goal.
Was that the second one? It was.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And like, why to leave? Because they were in an okay position.
They were, of course,
against the wind away.
3 points down.
And after playing the week before, or after losing the week before, all that against them. And like, what? You'd love to know who's, because I know Rafferty's a bit of a,
he is. He plays
wild.
he really plays off the cuff.
Yeah.
But in that instance, I would be expecting a call to come from the sideline to, mind the house, just stay back, don't be worrying about it. Yeah. They had the ball. Charlie Oak had the ball, and a bad hand pass went to feet, didn't come to hand, and then all of a sudden the ball is in the back of the net.
But the quickness of thought by Kerry.
Of
That's
course,
what I'm saying. Chaos is chaos winning matches.
Yeah.
And like Kerry aren't always chaos, but they brought it then. And like Gainey, I mean, I'm not a good footballer, but not even some of the best would have missed that. You have to be, this is too easy and too open, like, you know.
Open goal from 40 yards.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, if I had the pressure of going,
I know. But again, it was one of these things that I'd say they couldn't believe their luck at the time. Yeah. They really didn't think, like, when the ball was kicked down, like they obviously knew that if we win the break here, like the Armagh guy defender went up, he probably could have caught the ball.
That was very strange, like, or like as you said, catch it or go, I'll wait back.
Yeah, you know, and then just tap it into an empty net. And you go from being 3 down with the wind in the second half after playing not too bad. Like the first goal for Kerry was a brilliant goal.
Dylan Gainey,
like an unbelievable pass. Graham O'Sullivan's pass that split the line first into Dylan Gainey, and then a backdoor cut by Clifford. Yeah. And he misses the dummy, but he still gets it into the bottom corner. And then all of a sudden you're 6 points down. Like the game plan changes, then like that's sucking the life out of you. Like that's giving Kerry the cushion that you don't want to have.
Yeah. I think a good team versus a good team, when there's a 6 or 8 point margin, and I mean I'm sure I'm going to be corrected, but like when you have a team that we can hold the ball, it's like really it drains any goodwill.
It really did. Like, and like even in the second half, then like there was at one stage the ball was switched to Clifford, who had deliberately come out on the loop onto the edge of the 2 point arc and swung it over. So like it was like that was like training ground stuff, to be totally honest, like, you know. And even Joe O'Connor's goal, I think when Joe O'Connor's goal went in, I think Armagh just says that's us done.
Yeah, they were
just give up the ghost.
Maybe they had given up the ghost after the Louth goal.
Yeah, like, and again we touch back to that.
The remnants
like
of that.
They were 1 second away from having a week off in All Ireland quarter final, and 6 days later they find themselves out of the championship.
And on the team of goalies making mistakes, it was Donegal and Dublin, both goalies.
Yeah,
made a mistake. And again, like you've made enough kickouts, and I know anyone can make a mistake, but what would your rule be going? Where will I not go?
Well, I suppose if you go back to Dublin's goal, Gavin Mulroney, like he went to hook the ball down into the bottom corner to the cornerback. Now look it's high risk, high reward what the keepers are at, to be totally honest. Like, so Dublin still had a bit of work to do to get that goal, like for Con's goal, because you're well out on the sideline. Yeah. But for Donegal's goal, like the ball is intercepted right on the edge of the arc. Like that kick out is just like, if you lose that kick out now, it's almost a goal. Yeah, you wouldn't blame the Donegal mistake as much as you'd blame. No, definitely not. Like Donegal were kind of a little bit naive in the fact that they lost the ball in that corner, didn't get back fast enough because Con had the race on them and slipped it under Mulroney then. But for Donegal's goal, like if you lose that ball there, right in front of the goals, like you're either going to give like 3. Yeah, you're Donegal guys. It was like a 3-man weave going forward then to try and get the goal in a training game. But it's like we're talking about high risk, high reward. In that instance, like there has to be a game plan in, like to try and hold them up. Or are you giving away a black card? Are you going to be down to 14 men? Like it's just, and it's happening. It's happening every game. Every game that we're watching over the last few weeks, there's been 1 or 2 in every single game that has almost resulted in a goal or has resulted in a goal. Like, you know, so at some stage you're going to have to think that some statistician is going to be saying, right, okay guys, we got to maybe just kick the ball long here and get out of dodge, go 60-70 yards, like, you know, and get down the field. Coming for Dublin, I was making notes, like he did do some unbelievable kickouts. It was the goalie for Meath was, I think he was Sean Brennan. I was just like some of his kickouts. Yeah. So I understand, but like you're going, if you're the manager now, Giva, tomorrow, do you tell your goalie, if you think it's on, go for it, or do you go, these are the 3 don'ts? Yeah, there probably is a couple of don'ts, but like it's you go back to the keeper, like keepers are mad. They really are. And regardless what the manager is going to tell him, if he thinks that he can get that kick out away, and are you just bored there standing up for most of the game? I want a bit of crack. Well, maybe, and that's and there's actually a point that I touch on that as well, in the fact that I think I don't know, we'd mentioned here before, but the fist of point, especially nowadays, I think there's definitely an argument to be had to go out of the game, because if you're trying to entice younger kids to playing goals, like they want to be saving shots. Very true. Okay, so if you get a forward coming through and he just has the easy option of fisting the ball over the bar, you're not giving the keeper any opportunity to save the ball. Yeah. So obviously they're there for kickouts, and kickouts are a crucial part of the game, and catching high balls in, and we've seen Began doing some great catches at the weekend. And obviously saving the shots. Do you know what I mean?
That's the biggest adrenaline.
Yes, of course it is when you do make a save, but it's just too easy to fist the ball over the bar. And even in the Dublin Donegal match, right at the end, I think it was Dublin had the chance to fist it across for a tap-in goal, which we mentioned it happened last week with Galway.
Right, yeah.
So on some occasion, a team is going to get caught for not taking the goal opportunity.
Yeah, true. You know, I mean, with Mayo as well, as like there was options.
There really are. But again, go back to the keepers like Murphy and goals for Kerry. Like he got away some unbelievable kickouts, right? Yeah, and Shane Ryan breathing down his neck, back on the bench.
No, before it goes out of my head, like Rafferty, I thought he was playing an imaginary accordion.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm sure there's a call, but like he delayed so many times right throughout the game.
Yeah.
As you just said there, it made me think of it like Shane Murphy, gone. And that's chaos again. We keep coming up with this chaos.
Yeah, but again, I think if you look at what Kerry done, they put 2 banks of 4 in front of him.
Yeah.
And they pushed really, really high up. So if he wants to go over the top, by all means go over the top. But in Killarney, I suppose the conditions, especially in the first half, was against the breeze. So you're not getting that 60, 70 yard kick.
Yeah.
So Kerry were setting the trap for him to do that. And again, if you don't have that kick out away in 2 or 3 seconds, then
they're set. Yeah,
they're set.
Yeah. And that's the concentration of the forwards from like 10 to 15. They're going,
you know, and I
kick out or wide, get set.
Yeah, and I honestly thought that Shane Ryan, when I seen him named on the panel on the Thursday night, I thought he was going to be back in to goals because
he's going to find it hard to get his place.
He really is, especially last year because Murphy really upped his game, but he probably had to.
Well, he's probably looking at your man there with the boots
thinking,
on.
If I do anything wrong here, I'm gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you have an all-star keeper waiting in the background.
Just on black cards. So the Malays now go 4 cards. That's it.
Yeah.
What was your take on the the Donegal and Dublin?
Well, there's a precedent set. Like it seems to have. If there is a Malay, just pick out some people because like I watched the Malay happening and I watched.
There was a kiss in the middle of it.
Yeah, there was. Yeah. I think you tweeted about that. Make love no more or whatever.
Yeah.
But there was how he could pick out them 4 players.
Well, so they're not allowed to use any cameras.
Yeah.
Video technology. Okay, well, how did you come to that? I think it's. I don't know what the solution. I mean, nobody wants this Malay stuff happening.
No,
I think the first thing, if anyone from the sideline comes in, that should be absolutely red card straight away because that's absolutely no business unless you clearly see a strike or something. I think.
Yeah. Well, like obviously you're just talking like obviously the 4 guys that got sent off. Like I think Donegal were after losing Murphy. They already had taken off. It was McGee that had taken off.
Murphy and McGee got blacks, and then it was Clancy and Scully.
Yeah.
So Clancy wasn't particularly in the game.
Yeah.
Whereas
maybe they'd already taken off Langan, so they had no kick out option to go along to at that stage. Then, so you're really, really cutting back on what Donegal can do from the kick out in that instance. And again, I'd say Dublin were delighted.
Well, now, the way it worked out for them.
Of course, the way it worked out, but like I think before Murphy took the free, there was something said. Whether it was Kilkenny that said it to him or not, I don't know. But he reacted in that way that he did. And once you react, everybody is coming in. And
it's easy talking, you're not in the heat of the battle. But like
talking
and not keeping your head, we move on to the Mayo and Meath, like the Meath player, I will stand on this that it was not a red. I heard multiple pundits saying absolutely not a red. Even our old friend Alan Costello agreed on Twitter or X. He said no. So I said there's a Mayo man. Look, the bottom line is if you're the manager, you go, look, I don't think it was a red, but what did you do that for?
Yeah.
You're giving the ref a chance. And it wasn't even the ref.
I know, Sean Harrison.
And like, I always have a rule in my brain of a ref, unless you're 100%, you can't give a red.
Well, Sean Harrison got him sent off is basically what we're talking about. So did Sean Harrison say he seen the strike?
Yeah.
Because there was no strike.
There was definitely no strike. It was a harsh enough dig into it, and he had just been tripped by the same guy just a few seconds beforehand.
Yeah. So he was sent off in the wrong, and it was the turning point in the game.
But Mayo got 8 points, and Meath got 1 after that.
It really was.
And I was watching that when Meath played really well. Like some of their players, Jack O'Connor, Jordan Morris, these guys, Kieran Caulfield, they're gone out of the championship. Like they're exciting players.
Yeah, they're good. They're really good players. I touched it on Caulfield. Like he had a super goal in the first half, passed it to the net with his left foot. He got into the same position in the second half when they were down to 14 men, and he hit it with his weaker foot, his right foot, and great save by Livingston again, very similar to what Livingston done against Ethan Jordan for Tyrone. He waited and he stood up as long as he could, and he got a push around the post. But again, Caulfield got himself into that position. If they got a goal at that stage,
I think that was a real turning point. And it was just but in fairness to Livingston, some people said, "Oh, well, some of the shots he saved this year have been at him," but I think he's so quick when he sees the danger, he's out. So you kind of have to hit it at him.
He is and again, look at he's there on merit, I'm sure.
And some of his high ball catching, you know what I mean? He's been a real revelation.
He really has. But again, look at Mayo, where they died with their boots on, really, like, you know.
Well, that was utter Mayo chaos again,
like complete and utter chaos, And I think Andy touched on it. The last 10 minutes coming up to half time, like Hessian got through, he got a great score. There was actually a score that Kobe got.
Hessian got 2 points just before half time.
But there was Kobe got a left footed score that he chipped it up with his right foot, took the solo and took it on with his left foot just before half time. Crucial score. And I think it was a half goal chance for Mayo that was skewed wide, didn't even go wide, went down into the corner, and he comes down and he clicks that. But again, Kobe was just like 4 from play. Like, he was exceptional.
For the age of the guy, like,
you know. And we had mentioned young Darren Byrne. He went off injured in the first half. Paddy Durkin went off injured in the first half. Good to see Tommy Conroy coming back on.
And when he came on, now again, I will say, like, they got their 2 pointers. There was more scores when the space opened up.
Yeah,
but Jordan Flynn, you can only play what's in front of you too. Like some of the 2 pointers. Then again, Jordan Flynn, Jack Kearney, maybe weren't really in the game too deeply up to that point, but crucial scores. Like, you just remember the win. But like, you're trying to go, okay, they play Cork next. You go, where are Mayo at? And I was kind of going, well, for the first 25 minutes, and I just wrote this down. First 25 minutes of the game, Meath scored 2-7-3.
Okay.
And in the second half, when they were still at 15 men, so I said, well, let's compare 25 minutes in the second half.
Yeah.
Mayo scored 7-4. So is that a reflection? They had the wind. They were 15 on 15. Meath outscored them by 6 more points and conceded 1 less. So like, you know, you're trying to go, where's the form line here? Where's the form line?
Well, I suppose it is. But again, like, I think Falloon was the ref and he had let a lot go. And I suppose there was a dubious enough call given on young Conlon there.
That could have turned out that red card would
That's where the red card came from, you know.
Yeah.
But again, Mayo just went at it, and I suppose everybody has mentioned that their crowd got behind them, but it could have just as easily got away from them. Like, if that,
I think the Reds. I think if that wasn't a red, I just took Meath. You know,
Meath. I thought Meath were very strong and very physical and looked good, and we had mentioned that they would be physical. Mayo just didn't seem to be able to deal with it. Whether they'll be able to deal with Cork's physicality, because Cork are very similar to Meath's stature, like, you know, and the way that they play football. So it'll be.
We'll see, well, we'll come on to that in a minute now. So I just look at watching all the games the weekend. I watched every minute of every game, and like, we've lost, as I said, Meath and Westmeath. So we've like Whittaker's gone from Westmeath, Ronan Wallace, Brandon Kelly, the top scorer from play, up until last weekend, anyways.
And touch on Brandon Kelly's goal the last day. Again, you're touching on a keeper.
Yeah,
like Began flapped at that one. And Brandon Kelly, like, it was an open goal, and he rifled it to the net.
Yeah, like, it takes severe confidence there.
Like, he could have rolled that in just as handily, but he the minute he got the ball, he knew what he was doing. Like, and like, again,
joy to watch the confidence. Like, unbelievable. You know. Like, that was one of the first times I watched Westmeath right through, and like, so I'm just saying, their player Brandon Kelly's gone, and then for me, like, Jack O'Connor was unbelievable, Jordan Morris and Kieran Coffey, these players. They're gone from the championship now. And I think the Westmeath lads, because they won Leinster, there was a bit more visibility of them. But then I was going, okay, who from Donegal and Armagh lit up the championship?
Yeah.
Even though they're very good teams, like, is the flair and the how do you say, like, just that freedom, is that locked in behind too much tactics?
Yeah, quite possibly. Possibly. Like, I suppose you've seen what Donegal done with 2 of their kind of their go-to guys the last day, with Gallen and Ryan McHugh not starting just before the off. Now, I don't know, was that a plan to try and get them on for the end of the game? Now, I know Ryan McHugh come on and kicked 3 points. But like, we had said that Gallen needs to stay on the pitch. I said that last week in games, and then he doesn't start. Now, he could have been picking up an injury. We don't know here.
No, we don't. Let's say he's fit.
You know,
is there an argument for him to be starting and let him learn and develop into the team, because he showed some brilliance over the last years? Is Murphy, and I'm not saying it's Murphy's fault. Yeah, okay, no one can give out about Michael Murphy, but is bringing him back kind of restricting Oisín Gallen's development?
Like a younger guy coming up?
Yeah,
I don't think so. I think Murphy's influence on games is just still as strong as obviously not as strong as it used to be, but I just think that he warrants his place on the team 100%.
Yeah, but it is interesting to go, like, maybe he'd be a brilliant impact player. Look at Damien Comer.
Yeah.
And look, this is all just waffling away, but Christian
yeah.
Gallen, it doesn't seem to have regularly kind of had a great run.
Yeah, well, I suppose, like, you're going through the league and that, if you're talking about Donegal players like Langan, McGee, these were huge guys in throughout the league, right?
Yeah.
And really, really stood up. Like you had, like, Padder Morgan got a goal the last day, but he was quiet in the championship as well. Langan quiet in the championship. McGee not really there. I know Langan had a bad injury he picked up at the start of the championship before the down game. So you're asking the Donegal players step up to the mark? Probably not. Like the two O'Donnells weren't where
no,
their
a few
levels
seasons
are
ago they
set.
were unreal. Like, yeah, so look, it's like, look at
you go back to Armagh then, and obviously you had flashes of brilliance. Ross McQuillan and Oisin Connerty. Charlie Ogue was probably very good throughout. He's probably one of their most
maybe we're
consistent
spoiled.
guys.
Fair, I might be doing injustice to Connerty because he's but like maybe we're just used to seeing it. But like I just thought there was the real flair and energy.
But when you talk about what's the other teams, the lesser teams, the likes of Westmeath, I mean, no disrespect to them, but they had players that really lit up the championship.
Yeah,
that you're going to remember what they done and how they done it, etc., etc. So more so than the more established teams, like
Well, we'll run through the 4 fixtures this weekend.
Yep.
Sure, we'll start at the top of my list here. Dublin and Galway.
Yeah.
Dublin the weekend, like Con, was it 1-9? He went off injured. I mean, you don't see anyone injured, but as a Galway fan, that would be a major plus if he's not playing.
And look at, like, I had mentioned this before, like Con is the difference between Dublin being
they need
ultra competitive or just being thereabouts. And he's had hamstring issues before. Love to see him playing football because he is just one of these guys that you would pay to watch. Again, the way he took his goal the last day, look at, like, cool finish. But if Con is out of the team, now I'm sure that we'll be doing everything they can to get him back. But if he went off with a hamstring injury 7 days previous, I'm sure his influence is going to be nullified to a certain degree. They had the old guard really stood up.
Kilkenny, Scully, Howard, but like Kilkenny was in the full back line loads of the game.
He was,
and on a hot day against a running team, like, you just have to admire.
He clocked up a lot of Ks, all right.
How they, I'd love to see the stats on that. It'd be unbelievable. And Colin Pascal, that was
back in for a start.
Sensational performance. Never mind the scores he got. He was involved in everything. He was shown. He was a dog. Like, he just kept going. So
he won a lot of breaking ball, dirty ball, and he was coming at, like, he was just very clever in the way he was coming at the right time, and he knew where the breaks was going, whether it was luck or hunger or cuteness, or all of the above.
All of the above, yeah.
You know what I mean? And but and then they had a couple of guys that come off the bench. They had the guiding guy that came in and
I was reading the paper this morning. It might have been Colin Keys. He said, like, in a league game earlier on this year, he got 113 and 114. Now, it's only a league game, but like, that's, there's a bit of something there when you're scoring that. It comes on in extra time and gets 4 points.
Yeah, 4 points extra time.
And the confidence to do it. So, like, and his dad used to play for Dublin, I think, as well, in the 90s or something.
He did,
Owen Kennedy, I thought was very good. Charlie McMorrow, of these.
Charlie McMorrow's been excellent all season, to be fair.
Yeah.
He's been a revelation for them at 6. But, and you're asking, they're coming up against Galway.
Yeah.
Right. And extra time, I think, is going to have a huge bearing on what happened with the Dubs the last day.
In the heat as well. And an intense game.
And Galway were watching the game.
Yeah.
With their feet
up. I'm trying to tick off my maroon glasses. I know. I'm just trying to be analytical. Well, the odds will say Galway are favourites.
Yeah.
And you can give a valid reason as to why. Like, we don't seem to have any. Just rumours Matthew Thompson could be back. He's back training. Whether he's fit to play, I don't know. Like, young player of the year nominee.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I definitely didn't expect that performance from Dublin at the weekend.
No.
Whether it was the fact that Donegal came back to their level or that Dublin upped their game.
Yeah.
That only time will tell on that. But I just think that for Dublin, after putting in the effort they did and going to extra time and really, really digging deep and having to turn around 7 days later and play an All-Ireland quarter-final then,
you'd again, just being cold heart light of day going, you'd be surprised if they pulled that out of the fire. So hopefully, I'll be going up to it, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Tickets are scarce
and
already.
just with the what Galway have waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they have strength and depth all over the field. Like, they're big men in the middle of the field. I'd imagine that once they get opening out their legs in Croker, and
well, they didn't open them out last year. It was me and I hope, and it'll be interesting. I just remember watching. It was a bit like Armagh Kerry this year. Like, they were just too stagnant, and a bit of chaos came when Cormac came in, and next thing they only lost by a point.
Yeah.
And like, that was a real sickening one. And you kind of go and hope this time they go in. You know,
from
we have enough fellas to win it in there.
Yeah,
Rob
yeah,
Finnerty's
yeah.
on fire this year.
Yeah,
Shane
from-
Walsh looks as good as he's ever been.
Yeah.
Comer in his little role, his 30-minute role.
Yeah,
nearly,
yeah.
You know,
and
so-
obviously Conroy there, you know, picking off the scores around the pockets, like,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And then you have obviously Cian Darcy and John Maher putting in the donkey work. And we mentioned the likes of Sean Kelly back to his best. So I just think the
Cian
goal,
Ernan, you know,
yeah.
Not even a place for Johnny McGrath. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not mistaken. Was he an All-Star back one of the years? So, like, I'm just in him and Comer on the bench All-Stars. And again, I might be wrong in that, but like I'm saying, really elite quality.
Yeah,
on
of
the
course.
bench.
Yeah,
So
top players.
we'll
yeah.
see. Okay, so you're going to go for Galway, so I
ju-
won't pick
yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, I just think that the legs for Galway, the fresh legs are going to get them across the line on that one.
So we kind of talked about Mayo already there, and against Cork. Again, it hasn't been a lot of visibility being able to see Cork. And again, which Cork are we trusting? You know,
Yeah.
they did beat Meath, who have shown to be a decent team with 14 men. They did go and beat Cork beat Donegal away.
Yeah.
But you're going, oh, maybe Donegal aren't as good as they were. But like,
Yeah.
they're not one of the lower teams either. Like,
No,
and
they're
to
not.
go away from home, like.
Yeah, but again, look at Cork. I think Cork and me that I mentioned before are very, very similar.
Yes.
Right? Similar in stature, similar in players, and have heavy shooters up front, you know, that have no problem kicking 2-pointers or points from distance. Obviously, the likes of Sherlock, you know, he's kicking the lights out, right?
Yeah.
Mentioned him here before. So when he gets into Croker, I'd imagine he's just going to be, give me the ball, shoot on sight.
Yeah,
Right?
it'd be really exciting.
You know,
like, yeah.
I just don't think, I think obviously Mayo are there. They've got there, right? We mentioned the red card. Would they be there only for that? We don't know. Like, we're only
I
at
don't know.
guesswork.
Yeah,
We're
but
only
like,
at
so you can pick
guesswork.
every team this year and go, oh, well, they wouldn't have got this and they wouldn't have got that. Or they could have got this.
Of course. But
yeah.
like Mayo's defense, just like it just seems to be a little bit all over the place. There's like there were
In every game.
in every game.
Like
there-
Livingston nearly got man of the match. Was it against Monaghan?
yeah,
So
yeah,
Another team clipped those all in, you know.
yeah. And there just seems to be cut open. Obviously, you know, we mentioned Croker, the way that it plays.
Well, it plays fast. Yeah.
right? Obviously, if the weather is
Yeah,
like
it'd be interesting to see Kobe McDonald on that ground. Will Tommy Conroy start? It's a perfect kind of pitch.
Yeah.
But he hasn't an amazing record. He had one good year. I was looking up the other day. I was slagging one of my old friends.
yeah.
And his overall record in Croke Park is not that.
No.
Damien Comer, bar 1 year, wasn't so, like, you know, be interesting
Of course,
to see how
yeah.
they-
Look at Tommy Conroy could very well start. I know that Andy said that Darren Burns' injury wasn't too bad. He just picked up a knock.
Okay.
But Cian McHale came in there. Aidan O'Shea got no game time.
Like, would Kobe out around the
You know,
that half hour line
he
maybe
got-
even be better?
He got game time into Diarmuid O'Connor
Yeah.
the last day as well. Obviously, Jordan Flynn, Matthew Rowan back again after being not in the 26. Comes back
Like,
in.
I think for Mayo, like, I mean, it's hard to criticize anything because it's a very transitional phase. If
Yeah.
you're really smart about it, they are in a transitional phase.
They really are. And Andy's
maybe,
first year.
yeah. So
getting
like
to an
they must be
all-around
delighted to go,
quarter-final.
look, we got this far. We learn, we'll regroup, we'll
Yeah.
come back. you
Look,
know.
and I think this says there, it's, I don't know how, years since Mayo played a quarter-final in Croke Park.
They haven't been in. Oh, I might be wrong. I was only again texting that other Mayo friend. I think it's 2 years since they've been in Croke Park.
I think,
Not mistaken.
yeah, it could be maybe another one along with that.
Yeah, I think it could be 2023 was the last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
You know.
we will confirm after, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
And I go, wow, they haven't been there the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so and they're and I do think they're in bonus territory. And
Yeah,
they're
so
in
that takes
transition.
a bit of pressure off then.
But
Like,
I think because if put it this way, if Cork played their game and they're as big and as strong and as powerful as Meath were the last day, I think they could cut Mayo open through their
probably
defence.
maybe more ruthless forwards.
And again, you'd be looking at Livingston to pull off a couple of saves in the game to keep them there.
Yeah.
Can he do that? Yes. It's a little bit of luck for a keeper, but I think he might get caught on one or two occasions last day. And I would say if Cork were to hit the net on one or two occasions, I think that it could
Might
be
suck
Mayo's
the-
goose cooped.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. And like Cork, as you said, they've franked a good bit of form there in the All Ireland series. We're forgetting about provincials. now.
But again, you touched on it there. The likes of Kobe and Croker, like, it'll be-
Look, even as a goalie man, and they're cracking
Yeah,
the rivalry.
yeah,
you're
yeah.
going, let's see what he can do.
just let him loose.
Because this could be the last time we ever see him.
Yeah, he's a maverick. Like I seen that they were announcing his contract there with Aussie Rules there during the week, so he's going to be gone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So he'll be eager to put down a marker and show it, and like he was
Show
playing up to
something,
the
yeah.
crowd the last day when he got the insurance score, which look,
I love that. I wish more
100%.
players would have a bit of crack.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
You
So,
know.
okay, so are you going to go for Cork?
I'm going to tip Cork.
Going to
on
go for
that one.
Cork. Okay,
Yeah.
Louth Monaghan.
Yeah, local
Very
rivalry.
evenly matched. Yeah.
Local rivalry again. Monaghan, you know, bet Westmeath the last day, comfortable again, comfortable without really having to, you know, really dig deep. Like they had great players and
Stephen O'Hanlon
has turned himself into a defender, an attacking defender at this.
He was marking McCartan last year, and he was marking, who was in the previous, Enda Smith?
No, Heenan. Darren
Heenan, and he didn't score that day.
Yeah.
But he said the last day, well, I was actually marking a fella as well the other day. He's like, what did he get? He got 4 points, 3 or 4 points,
and set up the goal as well.
Yeah, but oh my God, him,
Man of the match
McCartan is
display.
just like comes back every so often doing this kind of play.
Yeah, McCartan.
McCartan
won 5 the last day, and people are bigging him up. And I think he was being bigged up in the interview afterwards as well. And he said himself, he goes, that there was only 4 games ago that he was the 4th sub in.
Yeah.
So the difference between being the 4th sub in or
now what you're doing, like even Andrew Woods, like they just Stephen Mooney, young forward there, corner forward, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, they're a very good team. Now a lot of it is going to depend on Began. Began went off injured. About to say, yes, and then like if you starve him of the freeze, do you nullify? Yeah. Obviously, you don't nullify his kickouts and that, but are you starving that big outlet? 6 was
huge.
It 6? Well, 3 3-pointers the last.
Like there was one of them from a different parish. Do you know, like he just clipped it over a golf stroke. Yeah. You know, and at his ease. Okay, now a dead leg is
as a goalie
is, you know, it can be a sickener, right? And 7 days to come back from a dead leg. Like, I don't think he's going to be operating on
full capacity
because they had nullified him in the second half, saying he wasn't coming up taking the freeze.
Okay. True, yeah.
Do you know, and so I think it was Bannigan that took the freeze in the second half, which Began probably would have come up and kicked. And then they took him off near the end when the game was kind of won. So they obviously took him off with the notion, let's get this man wrapped in cotton wool and get this leg sorted out, because he could be the difference the next day. Now Louth, again, are going to be waiting in the wings. Like any of the teams that was watching the game the last day, they'll be like Horst Devon be coming up with a plan how he's going to nullify. Like he'll do something to O'Hanlon the next day. Like if O'Hanlon comes back and ends up marking one of Louth's forwards, he could end up bringing a defender back to mark him, or you don't know what.
And they really, there's been a lot of reports out of Louth. They love this managerial setup. They've massive praise from.
Yeah, so. And like, you know, like you could end up with the likes of Craig Lennon, who was having an unbelievable year back to his all-star form from a couple of years ago. He could end up picking up Stephen O'Hanlon. And what a battle that would be. You'd have 2 speedsters. They could be chasing each other around all day. Who'd get the better of that? You don't know. Again, I think it'll come down to a shootout. I think it's going to be really, really tight because like Louth have big scores like Mulroy.
Well, even their half-backs have been scoring as well. You know, they won 6 against Armagh. So.
And like, I don't think the last day the Mulroy was operating fully fit. So I'd say he's after getting another 2 weeks of rest and recuperation and get the body right. Yeah. And you go into that game and I think it's very, very tight. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised to see that being a draw and going to extra time. Now look at, again, I don't think Monaghan excluded an awful lot of energy against Westmeath. No disrespect to Westmeath.
Once they got the grip on the game, I think they kind of eased down a bit.
They did, and they were able to manage the game. Yeah. You know, like, and they have big players throughout the pitch that are able to talk and able to, you know, say when to cool it down. And there's no need going
a lot of experience,
100 miles an hour here. We have the game won kind of job. And of course, credit where it's due to Westmeath. They kept coming back and they kept coming back.
Don't stop.
But Monaghan, no more than what they've done against Roscommon. They kept them at arm's length. They had enough in the reserve. To get them across the line, like, you know.
Okay, so you're picking.
Look at
that's a real tight one. That's a good one for the draw, people know.
It really is. I could really see a draw on that one, but I would just think that if Began plays,
that's true.
If Began plays, I'll give a wee
straight to them. Okay,
to Monaghan,
and we kind of tipped on these guys earlier on now. So tell me how Tyrone are going to beat Kerry, please.
Oh. If I could tell you that, I'd have a crystal ball in
goes
front
on
of
holidays.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that's one start.
Look at they're going to have to try. Look at every team is the same, right? They're going to say it right. Okay, we nullify Clifford's presence, right? And I would say like Armagh, were okay. If we can keep this guy to 4 or 5 scores the next day, let it be whatever, a couple of 2-pointers, to end up coming out with 110. You know,
we brush it under the carpet. The guy is it's crazy.
Yeah, and he's just like, his level is just like, I don't know if he's at his ceiling or if he's gone through the ceiling or where he's at.
And he was coaching Jason Foley, was it for his point?
Yeah, he was.
There, do this.
Yeah, exactly. Telling him where to go and what to do. Yeah. And it's left foot, right foot. Like he's almost unmarkable.
Oh,
and especially in these new rules, because whatever case it may be, if you could get men around him and get bodies around him, but like he's so big and so strong, and obviously with the big brother there, Paddy. You know,
you're gonna be looking for him, like,
because
then Dylan Gainey as well, like, it's just,
but I think when Paddy plays, David plays better.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
Dylan Gainey is, you know, he's there now and he's putting up, like, he's clipping in little balls around the corner, and it's like little schoolyard stuff that they're at.
Yeah.
Now, Tyrone, look at, are there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Like, Tyrone, like, could have bet Armagh, very first round championship, right? Went to extra time. They bet the Rossies by a point.
So that's what I'm saying. We're talking now today. All our big team is like, let's ditch the provincial form.
Mm-hmm.
So they beat Roscommon when they were like, Galway beat Roscommon, lost to Roscommon, I should say.
Yeah.
I go, well, is that a good, because everyone's going, oh, that was a good performance, but then Roscommon kind of whittled away. So it's so hard to figure. Like, they bet Mayo, but it was kind of that late free given away
2-pointer at the end of the game, you know, and it's have the Canavan back.
Didn't he come on in the last game?
Came on against Mayo.
Rory, we said we don't know, but we think Rory's
out for the season.
Right,
very
so
close to it.
You need everyone. If Galway win this Ireland, they need everyone there.
But I think for Tyrone to have any chance, they need a fast start, and they need Canavan and Mackle home, and, you know, absolutely firing from the get-go, and then they need to be in the game with 20-25 minutes to go and get McCurry on, because McCurry loves Croke Park. He has done it in Croke Park, and he's done it on the biggest occasions in Croke Park. But there's not much point in having McCurry in reserve if the game is over, as Kerry or Mayo
to unleash that one. Maybe would they start him? Is that
I couldn't see how they'd start him unless that he's after, you know, the last 2 weeks of training, that he's just gone to a different level. But I would say they have to keep something in the wings. Like, you know, you can't start everybody. You'd love to start.
No, that's always that tricky one, right?
You know what I mean? Yeah. But again, like, Niall Morgan, when he comes to Croke Park, like, his kick-out range is huge in Croke Park. Kerry's blanket of 4-on-4 and 2 sweepers in behind. Is Morgan going to be able to get out across the press on that? I'd imagine he's going to aim for it.
Well, if you said there, like, if you're trying to have any benefit, the teams that had a rest had a week to watch, video analyse, go right. But I mean, obviously someone comes next week and go, look, we'll just actually tweak that a bit. Yeah. But, like, you can never account for all of that. Like,
no, you can't. But again, look, I just watching Kerry the last day, like, Gavin White coming back on the field, and he's just raring to go. Sean O'Shea comes in. He ends up putting on a block in the last couple of minutes in the full back line. Yeah. You know,
just to dog it. And we're kind of forgetting their backs are really good. Like.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah.
So even though Tyrone have a few maybe star forwards,
they
probably haven't come up against a defence like this.
Like the likes of Ethan Jordan there, who's a very good footballer, right, and knows where the posts are. But I don't think will he get the time and the space against this Kerry defence, because they kind of just swamp you. Yeah. When you do get the ball, so you'll be relying on, you know, runners coming from deep, Mackleholm breaking a line. If Canavan starts, breaking a line. They're bigger boys around the middle third, breaking lines. But I just think if Kerry turn you over at that stage, I think it's game over. Like.
Well, okay, let's try to be the devil's advocate here. So Donegal hammered them twice this year in the league. Yep. Okay, players missing, you know, red card in Killarney. Let's try and go, where can we find something here? Mm-hmm. All the bet then was Kildare. And then you could say, well, did they beat an Armagh that were deflated? You know, the couple of mistakes led to goals. Was that the only reason? Like, I'm obviously trying my best here. I know. Like, is there any little chink in the armour there? But probably not.
There probably isn't. But look, we've seen it with Donegal. Yeah. Right, in Killarney. When they really squeezed them, right, they had no answers to it. Right? So it's when push comes to shove and the real pressure comes on, can they dig it out? As we said, them games that weren't full jeopardy, you know, you really don't. Yeah, okay, they had the game lost, right? They weren't really overly bothered. No, you know. So it's the games that until a team comes around and actually clips their wings and catches them. Like I think Tyrone will have to catch them on the hop the next day.
Yeah, you need a moment, something happened.
You really do. You know, a moment of brilliance or a moment of luck or, you know, something crazy to happen in the game, you know, or somebody to get sent off for Kerry and Tyrone really up their game. All of these things, it's up for debate, but to be totally honest, I just can't see how... I can see that they could stay in the game for 35, 40 minutes, but I think that just Kerry's firepower will get them across the line. Yeah,
I think most people, unfortunately,
of course, yeah.
Well, look, it'd be the ultimate underdog.
Sometimes we've said this before, and I've definitely been shot down, and it hasn't turned out the way that I've said it. Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see.
No, it'd be good. And before we sign off, we have to say hard luck to Emlyn. We might get him on next week. Now we'll just have to juggle the days because he's back now playing club football here in Sligo. But from Anna, I didn't get to watch it, but someone said probably the best game of the weekend. Yeah, and they were very unlucky near the end.
So close at the end. Yeah, McCusker had a shot right at the end that just drifted wide, which you would expect that he put over 9 times out of 10, to be totally honest. And I think they gave up a great account of themselves. in the semi-final. Down had, marched into a lead, looked to have the game won by all accounts. Fermanagh came back at them, got some unbelievable 2-pointers from Multon Kem from really, really, really tough areas, and unfortunately just came up short. Unfortunately for Muggsy on that side of it. Now, they're probably happy with where they're at. No team is happy to lose.
No, but I mean, if you just step back after a few weeks ago, right, God, from where we were and what we've shown this year, it's building blocks. More than Wicklow, for example, you know what I mean? So the teams...
Yeah, look at Ushie McConville, Wicklow doing an unbelievable job there. They actually ran the Dubs close in the very first round of championship.
That's right. Yeah, God,
down in Wicklow. Moments, it seems like it's ages ago. Is it ages ago? We don't really know.
Well, this is the thing we're saying. It's
condensed.
so quick. And even us doing these podcasts, it's like, oh God, you're trying to scram all the notes you can.
And like a massive win for Wicklow to come back. Down would be overwhelming favourites in the final of the Taunton Cup. But Wicklow are there. Yep. And again, they don't really, they're in bonus territory. And that's, they got out of dodge against Antrim. They had Antrim at the game one. Wicklow came back and bet them, caught them at the end. Same with Offaly the last day. Offaly at the game one. Wicklow came back and they got across the line. And that's all that matters, That's all
you can do.
So...
Rightio. Well, sure, we will come back next week and see what we all got wrong again, maybe.
Happy days, yeah.
And for anyone watching, we are hoping to do, like last year, a live, just the Thursday, maybe, or Wednesday before the All-Ireland, which is the end of July, somewhere in town, do a live show. So once we get the pieces together and make sure Muggsy's not training, we'll have a bit of fun live with an audience again. So, Darren, thanks once again for coming in to join me, and we'll see you next week.
No problem. Thank you.
Cheers for watching, and if you have been watching or listening, we'd love if you would like, share, comment. It helps us get more visibility out there. So we'll see you all again next week. Thank you.